Hi, this is the bad boy, Joey Janela, and you're listening to the Going in Raw podcast. Joey Janela always goes in.
This is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to Going in Raw.
Hey everyone, Kenny Omega here. In case you didn't know, we have an awesome kick butt show called Steve Larson's Going in Raw, and they're going to be supporting AEW every week amongst many other things. Goodbye and smooch. Good night. Bye-bye.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course, taped live at the twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. Tomorrow's a big stream day on the Twitch at 11:30, actually, Pacific. I want to stay ahead of that. I liked it last week, how we stayed ahead of it.
Well, then, of course, they didn't do the thing where they ran it live.
I know. It's like they just got us to, do that. Yeah. Now I'm happy with it. 11:30 Pacific. We're going to be live on the Twitch. We're going to do NXT UK watch along. It's a great hour of wrestling over there on the Peacock. We're going to do a watch along of that. Then we're going to do for subs only, for patrons and for YouTube channel members. The numbers don't lie on Edge and Christian, the tag team, not singles careers, tag team.
As a tag team, yes.
So please, if you're here in the Twitch and you want to vote on this, you can do that right now. There should be a link in the chat. We need all the votes possible so we have the most scientifically accurate math on Edge and Christian. So we're going to film that tomorrow for subs, YouTube channel members, patrons. And then, of course, tomorrow night, whammy or no whammy.
Yeah.
Fast money. Which family's going to win? Smash Zone. Should be a lot of fun. We're coming down the last couple episodes of Wrestling Society X. Our watch along for that. Should be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Come check out Smash Zone. We've also got a brand new YouTube channel, Friendo Club TV. Just today, we posted. It's all short form stuff for me, Larson, the Enforcer. Just today, Larson and I had a draft where we took all the awesome free agents on the wrestling free agent market, and we created two new promotions. The War Games. What was my call? War Games Wrestling, because William Regal.
Yeah,
is
I was asked you to name your promotion in the pre-show before we got started. You're like, oh, I don't want to spoil it for people. And now this is like the scene in Boogie Nights where they asked that guy.
I was about to say, can I not say what school I go to?
Where
I
do you go to
Northridge.
school? I prefer not to say. Well, I go to CSUN.
Yeah, you seen that Licorice Pizza yet?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I need to watch it, though.
Did I get nominated?
I think it got nominated for Best Picture. I'm not going to say what my promotion name is. You got to watch the video to find that out. Don't
there
say
you
a
go.
word
See, I do mine, and then so yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a silly 13 minutes of us picking some of the top free agents in the market. Of course, it had a deadline. It had a cutoff time of this episode of Dynamite.
Yes, because
before it aired.
I'll spoil this. My top draft pick was, in fact, Keith Lee. And as we kind of thought was going to happen, he was the surprise debut tonight on Dynamite. Man, I couldn't stop smiling watching him come to the ring, hearing him get that awesome reaction, hearing the crowd chant, bask in his glory, getting to see him wrestle again. Because, he had a decent enough run in NXT. And when he first got called up to the main roster, it was exciting because he was put in a prominent spot. He got to beat Randy Orton on pay-per-view at a time when Randy Orton wasn't losing to anybody.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then pretty much shortly after that, they didn't seem to know what to do with him.
Well, you saw the little video of Vince saying, "Oh, look at you. Have the promo. You got the athleticism. You're big." You'd think that this would be like,
this would have been a
Vince's
slam dunk
guy.
Yeah.
A slam dunk. And they start dicking with them. They don't know what to do with them. And they rename him. They give him a weird, different costume. And then before you know it, he's out. And then you hear, oh, he was difficult. And then it's just a whole mess. He's where he will be appreciated. He's going to do some cool wrestling. He's going to be pouncing a lot of people. He's probably going to be managed by Adam Cole on BTE. They need to do that.
Yes.
And yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, man. I'm so happy for the guy. that he's in a place where I really think he's going to be appreciated.
Yeah, I think so too. And really happy for him. We've had another AEW debut. We'll get more into Keith Lee's debut when we talk about that match. Another debut tonight. Forbidden Door was open. We saw the knife pervert, Jay White, show up. And seemingly he's going to have, this is my speculation at least, he's going to have Adam Cole's proxy when it comes to the Young Bucks, so Adam Cole can go and pursue his endeavors going after that AEW title, which I think is actually pretty funny because I saw someone post this on Twitter. I can't remember who, so I apologize. That Adam Cole wasn't there when all the beef went down between Kenny and Jay White. He wasn't privy to any of that.
Yeah.
He's completely unaware. He thinks, we're all Bullet Club. We should all get along, right?
Well, what's even funnier is that because they choose to sort of acknowledge that there is that universe outside of wrestling, they acknowledge Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. It's entirely possible Adam Cole is very aware. In universe of AEW, he's totally aware, and he's just like, you know what? Trust me, he's fine.
Yeah.
Which is like his way of saying, I don't care. Just deal with it.
Exactly.
Like, be a grown-up and deal with it. And on top of that, they have totally telegraphed what this is kind of all about, is that what we might get, depending on how long Jay White's going to stick around, and that's sort of up in the air. It doesn't seem like he's actually signed with the company.
No, I think he's just there for
right. He did a bulk of tapings with Impact. Prior to this, he's here in the States. I think he's doing a bunch of stuff in Strong, I think, right now as well. And so, I mean, who knows how much of this, if this would be happening, if the travel restrictions, weren't the way they were. I have no idea what the state of the world is these days, outside of my own little bubble. But, Matt Jackson brought up, this guy has major issues with Kenny Omega. Well, so is Adam Cole. Adam Cole is going to have some major issues with Kenny Omega. I think that's going to be probably one of Kenny's first big major stories when he does come back. And we saw that teased, like literally the one episode that Kenny was around after his title match.
Don't worry, I got this cleaner.
I love that. I love that so much. And so there's, again, this is the kind of thing, there's any number of ways this can go down.
Yeah.
Plus you still have, and I know Kyle O'Reilly's out on paternity leave or something. When the Undisputed Era come back, that's going to be another complication.
Who's going to have his proxy with those guys? That's the question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is he going to have a proxy with those guys? Because those might be his number one guys.
Could be. It'd be interesting if they brought someone else in to have his proxy with Kyle and Bob Fish.
Oh, like a Gargano. Yeah, that could be.
Who knows? Anyways, top to bottom, though, just a really fun episode. Some really great. That tag match, Mox and Punk versus FTR. Holy shit.
That was wildly fun. I just love how they set up all that stuff. It's like, ooh, is this going to be another debut? What is this going to be? Well, it ends up being Mox, but he's super over. He's a big fan favorite. Let's go back to Adam Cole for a second, though, because that was the big deal there at the end of the show. Was once Hangman in a bloody, brutal, just horrifying match. This was like Necro Butcher.
There was a lot of blood.
Anyways. A lot of blood. And that blackout on the steel steps was gnarly. That was rough. That was one of the roughest spots I've seen in recent history. Hangman pinned Lance Archer, or got on his feet before Lance Archer
knocked
did.
Knocked him out.
And then out comes Adam Cole. So clearly, we're about less than a month away from Revolution. That's going to be the match. Is this too early for that match? I mean, Hangman's been on a tear. Is the story's going to go one of two ways? Is it that Hangman is killing himself during this title reign and that's going to cost him the title? Or is this making him stronger and he's going to beat Adam Cole at Revolution?
I mean, it could go either way. It seems plainly obvious to me that they're really, I've been saying this for weeks, they're putting Hangman through the ringer here. That's his story. He wants to defend the belt as often as he can. He said that himself. And so far, the 3 title defenses he's had have been brutal, physical, bloody matches.
Yeah.
And it seems like an extension of what they were doing with Darby, where Darby wanted to defend the TNT title every week. And eventually, it was just too much. And, usually you have these stories about champions winning the title for the first time and then learning how to be champions. And they take different approaches. We saw it with Drew McIntyre over on Raw when he won it from Brock, where he'd get in new situations and have to work himself out of it. Eventually it cost him the title, losing to Orton in Hell in a Cell, but he got it back shortly thereafter. And it seems like with Darby and Paige, like the story is, now you're champ. Now you got to learn how to pace yourself so you can hold on to that title. It's one thing to be a fighting champ. It's another thing to put your body through hell with every title defense.
Yeah.
And especially with Hangman, where every match he's getting the shit beat out of him. He is bloody. If they're going to try to tell the story of him losing to Cole at Revolution and having the belt for, about 6 months?
God, would it be 6 months already? It was November.
Oh, it's November? Sorry. No, it'd be 4 months then. 4 months.
Yeah.
Then I could see them going that way, or it'd be a situation of, iron sharpens iron, so to say. He's been out there putting his body through hell, and now he's like steeled against like any opponents.
Yeah. Like, oh, what's Adam Cole going to do to me? Like, hit me in the head with his knee. Well, this dude gave me the blackout on some steel steps. Which still, that's going to haunt me tonight. Yeah, I don't know. I was actually kind of surprised when Cole came out. I mean, I figured it was going to end up being like, when MJF started saying, hey, world title, Punk is going to get his match. It's got to be like a cage match. Because MJF, I think, didn't even say, Punk, you choose the place, type of match, stipulation, whatever you want, if you could beat FTR with a partner of your choosing. So I would imagine that would end up being a steel cage or, I don't know, Wardlow in a Shark Tank or something. Yeah. At Revolution. But when Cole came out, I was like, this is a bit early. So I'm kind of interested to see like what that story beat is actually going to be.
Yeah. Or maybe, it's entirely possible, now that Jay White's there, that Cole somehow gets sidetracked. I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
and that isn't the match at Revolution?
Yeah. Who knows? I don't know though.
They got like less than a month here.
Well, in the span of this one episode, I felt like they set up potentially a bunch of matches for Revolution. So,
yeah, this really did feel. I mean, it's funny because we were just talking about this today on the show we did earlier today. How is Tony Khan going to, meet these expectations? And honestly, it was just this thing. It was paced amazingly. There were so many great moments. It was obvious that he knew he had a pretty special show on his hand. I mean, the one thing that like just sort of people I see are complaining about in our chat anyways is the Inner Circle team meeting. I thought that was amazing because Santana just got to rip into Jericho and then legitimately it looked like he was choking the shit out of the guy. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was, I don't know. I thought it was great. It was what I want to see from Santana and Ortiz. I thought it was cool. I love that they referenced LAX and Homicide and Hernandez. Yeah. With his wad of cash gimmick.
Yeah.
From Impact.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty good too. Let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Several years ago, I was dealing with severe anxiety, and I learned how important it is to talk to a therapist. But I also learned that it can be really difficult to find the right person to talk to. Today, BetterHelp is providing a safe, convenient, and private online environment where your needs will be assessed and you'll be matched with your own licensed personal therapist.
BetterHelp isn't a crisis line, nor is it self-help. It's professional counseling done securely online, and you don't have to limit yourself to counselors in your area. BetterHelp services are available worldwide, so you can find the expertise you need regardless of location.
BetterHelp is dedicated to facilitating great therapeutic matches, all without having to sit in another uncomfortable waiting room. You can send your counselor messages whenever you want, or you can schedule regular phone or video sessions. And BetterHelp has made it free and easy to change therapists if needed.
We want you to start living a happier life today. As a Going In Raw listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at BetterHelp.com/raw. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health.
Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
And before we get back to the show, let's get a word in from our sponsor, Let's Get Checked. Hey, Larson.
Yeah?
You're a low energy guy, wouldn't you say?
Say again?
You're a low energy guy.
I don't know if I'd call myself low. Am I a low energy?
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely. I can confirm you are a low energy Larson. So did you know that fatigue, hair loss, and even a low libido can all be the result of a hormonal imbalance? It might be time to get your testosterone levels checked, friendo. And today's sponsor, Let's Get Checked, has got you covered.
Yeah, I think I've heard that low testosterone levels can cause fatigue, low energy, and may be linked to depression. Tell me, though, Steve, how do I go about getting my testosterone tested with Let's Get Checked?
Happy you asked, Larson, because it's easy and it's something you can do from the comfort of your own home. You just go to their site, letsgetchecked.com, and order a test kit. Once that arrives, you do a small finger prick and send the sample to their lab, and within a few days, you'll get your results. And if your results are outside the normal range, a member of Let's Get Checked's nursing team will contact you to discuss your lab report.
That does sound easy. I could do that.
It is easy and convenient, and it can hopefully help you turn from low energy Larson into let's go get it Larson. Even better, our listeners will get 30% off their entire order with code RAW. Just visit letsgetchecked.com and enter code RAW at checkout to ensure you and your significant other are staying safe.
Let's just get into it. The show opens up. You got Wardlow, no music, no pyro. He's just in a suit.
He's the prop guy.
He's the intern right now.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
He's coming out. He's got a couple like cardboard cutout standees of MJF that he's bringing to the ring. He sets them up in a couple of the corners, and then he hands Justin Roberts some notes, like an index card for introductions. And
he's got just a look of humiliation on his face, like, look at me. I could destroy anybody in the locker room, including everybody in Pinnacle, and they have me out here running this errand.
I know. So Roberts then introduces FTR and Tully. They come out drinking from glasses of champagne. Next is Sean Spears. He's drinking the whole damn bottle. He hands Roberts a folio, which we thought when he pulled it out was going to have like the number 10 on it, because that's what it kind of looked like when he used to have that laminated 10 when he was in WWE anyways.
Yeah.
So Roberts then opens it, reads inside, and it's just an extended introduction for MJF.
Right. And it's just, and even Justin Roberts is like looking humiliated that he has to read all this stuff.
Yeah.
So MJF is carried to the ring on I love that you have this written down, on a palanquin.
It's because Excalibur said what it was.
Yeah, I always forget what this thing, I never remember. I'll probably, now that I see it in typed out here, I'll probably actually remember what it is.
Yeah.
But it's the old thing like Cleopatra. That's how I know it from, like the Cleopatra thing.
Yeah.
Did Triple H come out of who in wrestling? Somebody
sure
came out on this before.
I'm sure he did. It's been used in wrestling several times.
In boxing, it's been used in boxing a couple times. Yeah.
So he gets a ride down the ring. He gets in there. We get a huge Pinnacle group hug, save for Wardlow. Confetti falls.
And the camera keeps going to Wardlow's face.
I know.
And he's over it. He's over the entire
over
thing.
it. Except for one moment. There was like a moment of hope in his eyes that was quickly dashed. That comes later. So MJF gets on the mic, says it's hot in Atlantic City tonight. So I made it clear last week that I'm the best wrestler on the planet, not Kenny Omega, not Bryan Danielson, not Adam Cole, not Hangman Page. No, right now you're looking at the best in the world. Scratch that. I just beat Punk twice in Chicago. I'm better than the best. But last week was bittersweet for me because as I was lying on top of Punk after beating him twice, a lot of emotion overcame me. I realized I just beat someone I grew up watching, so I leaned over and said to him 2 words: "You suck."
Yeah, so a lot of people had noted that, MJF leaned over Punk at the end of the match last week and whispered something to him. Clearly, these two guys probably really love working with each other, and it was like hey, man, thanks. Appreciate it.
Said thank you, yeah.
Yeah.
So MJF continues, says, but if anybody deserved to hear the 2 words, thank you, it's the man who helped me defeat Punk. And that's when Wardlow kind of perks up a little bit. He's like, oh, I'm going to get some acknowledgement.
Yeah, MJF's building him up. That this man, I couldn't do it without him. He's great. He's the, peanut butter my jelly, whatever. And Wardlow's like, all right. And he literally steps forward and MJF says, Sean Spears, the chairman.
Yeah. He said, if you didn't help me warm up, who knows what would have happened. And then just Wardlow dejected again. So Spears takes the mic and says, hey, after your historic win, I got you a gift. And he throws to the Tron, and it's a new shirt. MJF has a new shirt in AEW's shop.
Yeah.
So MJF says, I'm just not here to party. I'm here to make a statement. It's time I become the new AEW World Champion. And much how Wardlow came out with no pageantry, no music, no pyro, Punk just kind of wanders out on stage.
Yeah. Ambulates out.
Ambulates, yes. He waves over Tony Schiavone. Says, I've been watching the back. And your win, MJF in Chicago, is as suspect as your spray tan. Says, I don't like to ask for help, but I learned from my mistake. And today I've got some friends. So he waves out Darby, Sting. They all have bats. And he tells, hey, Pinnacle, take your jackets off. Get ready for a fight. I want a rematch. And MJ says, you don't deserve it. And Punk says, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Wardlow. He says, none of these guys would have won for the last few months without you. And Wardlow, you either stay in that ring and take this beating, or you can leave Pinnacle right now. They get a good close-up shot of Wardlow.
Sort of mulling it over right there. So MJF says, no, I won by myself last week. He says, Wardlow's not around just because he's under contract to us. He's also our best friend. And then Dax pipes up, says, I don't even like wearing these suits. I don't look good in them. I'm more comfortable in my wrestling gear, but I want a rematch. And Punk says, he says, fine, I want a rematch of the 6-man tag from Greensboro. MJF said, I'm not wrestling tonight, but it does give me an idea. How about we're in Atlantic City? Why don't we roll the dice? If Punk can beat FTR with a tag partner of his choice, he can have his rematch. You can have whatever stipulation whenever, wherever you want it. He says, but it can't be Tweedledee or Tweedledum, pointing to Stinger and Darby. And MJF tells Wardlow, he's like, by the way, big man, you got a match next. We're going to keep this party rolling because I'm MJF, and I'm better than the best in the world, and you know it.
Yes. Then we have Sting and Darby having a business meeting with Andrade.
This was awesome. Tony Schiavone says, we finally got the meeting that everybody wants to see so they can settle it and figure it out. So
nothing
Andrade
was settled
says,
and nothing was figured out, though.
Nothing was, I don't, so Andrade, you're right, nothing was really settled. Except for maybe Andrade understands that Darby doesn't work for Sting. So he said, Andrade says, I finally found Darby's boss. Everybody knows that this kid works for Sting. And Sting said, man, I thought Darby made it clear. He says a couple things. Number one, and Sting is great here.
Yeah.
He said, Darby's not a kid. And if you got a dispute with Darby, settle it with him one-on-one. And Darby says, Andrade, come on, man. I got better things to do than work for you, like become the next TNT champ. And Andrade says, you will work for me. He says, but we have something in common. You want to be TNT champion? I'm going to be the next TNT champion. So, Larson, who is going to be the next TNT champion?
Keith Lee.
Neither of these guys. I'd love to see Andrade with that TNT title.
I would too.
My guess? Andrade might win the damn thing. And Darby might challenge for it, but Andrade might just lose it to Keith Lee.
It's possible. I mean, I guess that's the nature of a ladder match is Keith Lee gets this great debut, he gets the win, and then he can lose the ladder match without eating a pin.
True, yeah.
So
yeah,
it's possible. Sure. But
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of X factors there. Like in the ladder match, is Wardlow's going to be in this damn
I would
thing.
imagine, yeah.
Wardlow, Keith Lee. Was anything set up last week?
No, the match tonight between Cassidy and Keith Lee was the first
one,
qualifier. So
okay,
I'd imagine next week they'll probably have another one.
Boy, yeah, there's a lot of moving parts there.
I know.
If Wardlow wins that thing, but then I would think that maybe Wardlow wouldn't win it to further sow some because MJF's not going to be going for the world title anytime soon.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it.
I don't know.
Speaking of Wardlow, he has a match against the Blade early on. The Blade chop blocks Wardlow, in fact, right before the bell rings. So Wardlow's selling leg the whole time. Eventually, though, he just starts dominating the Blade during the picture-in-picture commercial break. He was just throwing them all around ringside.
Yeah.
And then down towards the finish, the Blade hits him with a couple of knees. He goes for another one. Wardlow catches it, hits it with a power bomb, hits 3 more to get the win. Sean Spears runs in, just hits Blade with a chair, and then Wardlow turns around. He leaves, and the Wardlow leaves with him.
Mm-hmm. After that, we had a Pentagon Junior video package.
Oh, this is exciting. This is
it
exciting.
was Alex was doing the voiceover
Yeah,
here, right?
yeah.
Is that what it was? Yeah. He says, when Malachi misted Penta, he spit into his soul. Malachi wants to live in darkness. He should be prepared to live with the consequences. Penta says it's time for Penta Oscuro.
Pentagon Dark from Lucha Underground. That's exciting.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of
Really
that,
exciting.
but I've heard cool things.
Oh,
I've
man,
heard
it's
really
great.
cool things.
Great. Then we get our Inner Circle team meeting. Of course, Jericho said attendance was mandatory, yet only 3 members of Inner Circle make their way to the ring. Initially, it's Sammy, it's Jake Hager, it's Jericho. Jericho says, I know I said the whole Inner Circle was to be here, but we haven't seen Santana Ortiz all day. And as soon as he says that, their music hits. Mm-hmm. So they come down the ring, and Jericho goes, I see what you did. You want your own spotlight. That's cute. But what isn't cute is you didn't let me tag into the match against 2.0 and Garcia. I was embarrassed. I was disrespected. And most importantly,
just so condescending.
It really is. You rob all the fans of letting them see Jericho wrestle. They all spent money to see me wrestle. Why did you do that?
Let me ask you something. Is this really the type of heel situation Jericho wants to find himself in? I hope he goes, I'll put it this way. I hope he goes really obnoxious with this influencer stuff. Because it's so like, oh my, is the boss that everybody hates.
I know. It's very middle management.
Yeah. Maybe that, I mean, it's, he is kind of a master of reinvention. So,
I mean, if he does it with the goal of helping Santana and Ortiz break free of Inner Circle and help them get over, then if that's what it takes, then good.
That's totally what this is about. And I think he's going to do a stellar job, and they really should be the next tag champions.
They should be.
So anyway, Santana says, he says, I've been struggling for the past few months, but at the end of the day, you got to call it like it is. He says, Jericho only cares about one man, Jericho. Everything we've done has been for the advancement of one person, Chris Jericho. And any time we've had a bit of the spotlight, it gets shut down and thrown to the side so they can come to your rescue. So we can come to your rescue. He says, we came out here to tell you that the days of us playing second fiddle are done. At the end of the day, it was always Jericho who stood in our way. It was you who made sure we didn't get a larger spotlight. But it was them, the fans, who kept us going. He says, Jericho, you better thank Ortiz, because if it wasn't for him, I would have dropped your ass a long time ago.
That's great. And Jericho says, you, Santana, you remind me of Eddie. He would get hyped up and then start blaming everybody else.
Guerrero.
Yeah, Eddie Guerrero, yeah.
Yeah. Because he brings up another Eddie here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Says Eddie Kingston planted all this in your head, but what has Eddie Kingston done for you in AEW? What kind of stroke does he have? I have stroke in AEW. I'm the influencer here. Since I brought you here, you've been in main events, pay-per-views, on Dynamite, a Rampage. You made more money than you ever have, but they still want to lay their shortcomings on me. You still want to lay your shortcomings on me. He said he named the day. He said about a year ago, you had a chance to be tag champs against the Young Bucks, and you lost, and it had nothing to do with me. He said, I brought you into the Inner Circle. I can kick you out as well. As a matter of fact, when I think how I put this faction together, maybe I invited the wrong 2 members of LAX to join. And then he turns to Hager and says, hey, do you have Homicide or Hernandez? I assume like phone number or something he was going to say. But instead, Santana goes to Jericho, grabs him by the throat, starts choking him.
He starts choking his ass out. Yeah.
That was great.
Then Sammy's like, okay, stop. We're a family. And Jericho just shuts him down and says, shut up, Sammy. Sammy says, Jericho, he says, save it. I love you guys. You're my family. But my goal is to be the greatest. One of my goals is to be the greatest champion in all of wrestling. And all this bickering isn't going to help. He takes off his vest. He says, I've quit this group before. And if you guys don't figure it out, I'm quitting again. And he puts his vest on the ground there.
Yeah. And then Ortiz grabs the mic and says, Jericho, what'd you expect? With all these threats. Now Sammy walks out. What's next? He says to Jericho, Eddie is one of our brothers. And all the bickering at this point isn't going to settle anything. Where we come from, if there's an issue, we don't talk about it. We use these. We fight.
We settle it with the fists.
We settle it with the fists. He says, so he challenges Hager and Jericho to a match against himself and Santana next week. And Jericho says, I never want to come down to this, but if you want to fight, you'll get one. We'll see you next week.
Yeah. You know what I just realized? There was no Dan Lambert in this episode.
Yeah, there was. He was out for the main event. He didn't talk, but he was out there.
Oh, okay. No, well, that's okay. God damn, I didn't even know. The only thing I noticed was
he was the one who undid all the turnbuckles, the top turnbuckles, the bottom rope.
Okay, there you go. Well, there was no Dan Lambert talking, anyways. That's funny. Yeah, I completely missed him. I went out. I had to help Bama with her little telescope for a second.
Oh.
And then I get back, and Hangman, he just is covered in blood. I was like, oh man, that was a lot. I missed a lot.
You didn't miss this though. We got a Roppongi Vice interview. They got a match against the Young Bucks this Friday on Rampage, and Rocky's talking about how he's been cleared, he's ready to go. Young Bucks step in. It's like, oh, we just wanted to say hello. And then Nick says, oh, no, we wanted to fight. So Cole comes in. They start beating him up. They give Rocky BTE trigger, I believe. Trent gets a low blow from Adam Cole. They're setting maybe from a powerbomb or something. And Cole goes, who's that? And in walks Jay White.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Because, first everybody sees his jacket, and you hear this, like, audible gasp from the crowd because, like, knife pervert.
Yeah.
And he turns around, he's got this big cheesy grin on his face.
Popping his collar.
Popping the collar. You can see his merch shirt. Speaking of which, I'm going to get us a couple of those Roppongi Vice, Miami Vice looking shirts, man. Those are cool.
Good call. So then he throws Trent to the production truck and just kind of walks off.
Yeah, he does, yeah. After that, we had Isaiah Cassidy versus the debuting Keith Lee, and Isaiah just gets thrown all over the place.
Well, even before that, like Keith Lee, they do a good shot of the stage. Tron comes up, song, crowd super into it. Everybody in AHFO sells it. The magnitude of the moment. Isaiah Cassidy, his jaw drops. The look on Matt Hardy's face is, oh shit, my guy's about to get destroyed. And commentary was selling Keith Lee. They did a really good job of making this feel like a moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And really putting over Keith Lee. And it was great. Anyways, I just want to get that in before we...
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can go ahead and...
all right, yeah, so Keith Lee basically beeled Cassidy out of the ring to start the match.
Yeah, exactly.
He basically threw him out of the ring.
Yeah.
Within a foot of doing so. And he pretty much dominates throughout. Mark Quinn tries to get involved at some point. Doesn't really do much. At one juncture, after Cassidy's getting destroyed, Matt Hardy just says, oh, to hell with this, and he walks out. He just jumps over the barricade and walks out.
So I didn't notice this, but shout out to Sean Ross Sapp, who did. Apparently commentary said Matt Hardy's acting erratic right now.
Yeah, they did say that. It was pretty funny.
That's great. That's terrific.
And so Keith Lee ends up hitting a pop-up Big Bang Catastrophe to get the win. As soon as the bell rings, Mark Quinn attacks him, hits a drop kick, party then together drop kick Keith Lee out of the ring. So Cassidy looks for a plancha. Keith Lee catches him, and then I guess must have dropped him or slammed him because they cut to Mark Quinn going for a tope, and then Keith Lee catches him. Like he catches him.
No, it's great.
In powerbomb position.
He's got Cassidy, and it cuts to Mark Quinn, and he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna jump on him or whatever." And so he loads up, and and while the camera's not on Keith Lee, he's already dropped Cassidy, and so when Quinn jumps out, he lands into powerbomb position basically.
Yeah.
I love that.
I know.
Oh God, it was amazing.
So amazing. And so Keith Lee powerbombs Quinn onto Cassidy's back, and then powerbombs Quinn onto the apron. It was great.
Yeah.
I've missed Keith Lee.
It was terrific. I've missed Keith Lee. He's having a hell of a 2022. Got married.
Yeah.
Honeymooning on Dynamite. Me and Ian posting some honeymoon pictures. After that, we had a Britt Baker, Mercedes Martinez, Thunder Rosa video package where Britt says, in case you guys missed it, because nobody watches Rampage, I brought in Mercedes. Rosa says she's never surprised. Britt reminds Mercedes her match next week is a no DQ. And Thunder Rosa tells Mercedes she doesn't know what she's gotten herself into. Probably doesn't look good for Mercedes Martinez.
No, it should be a hell of a match, though. During picture-in-picture, Sammy does the sign thing. I know I made note of it because I wasn't paying attention to anything he said. After that, wow, what a fantastic tag match we had between FTR.
Oh, this is great.
CM Punk and his partner, Jon Moxley.
Featured Tully getting a GTS.
Yeah.
Punk had to muzzle him up, too, because Tully, it was funny.
It was funny. This match went all over the place, went to the crowd. Mox went through the timekeeper table. Even down, I didn't think Punk was going to lose, but down the stretch, especially after he took that shot to with the ring bell, from Cash. I was like, oh, okay, maybe they're going to have Punk lose again.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Make his journey to get that rematch with MJF a little more difficult.
Nope.
Bunch of false finishes, but a couple times Mox and Punk went for their finish. Same with FTR. In the end, Mox and Punk both hit their respective finishes and get the win. Punk gets his rematch. There's a doomsday device in this match. It is so good. I could just list moves. Wouldn't do it justice. Just go watch it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a terrific match. One of the matches of the week on our the Kip Up Newsletter.
I tagged it for a potential match of the year contender. I thought it was so good.
All right. Well, there you go. After that, we had the debuting AQA, formerly known as Zayda Ramir.
Zayda Ramir
in NXT. Versus Jade Cargill. Of course, Jade Cargill is 26-0 going into this match. We did get a shooting star press from AQA. She hit that, tries to go for another one. Jade gets her out of there. And then hits her with a tour of the islands.
Man, that was impressive.
Which was fucking rad. Like, it was like a muscled tour of the islands, too.
Because AQA jumps off the top like a crossbody. Jade catches her, and almost like a one movement catches her and just swings her around, tour of the islands. It was great.
It was more of like like Cobb has such a like flowing one.
Yeah.
You know, it looks very I don't know what the word is for it. But like Cargill's just looked violent.
I know.
Oh, it was gnarly. I loved it. And then she muscled her up for a Jaded for the win.
Like deadlift her up for a Jaded. AQA had a promo beforehand where she talks about being trained by Booker T. She beat some of the best women out there. And then she came to test herself against the best in AEW.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get to see more of AQA because I thought she had a pretty strong showing tonight.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah, I thought she was really good. You know, it shows you. I always figured, you know, you put Jade in there with like veterans, people who've been around a little while, and you're going to get the best out of her. I really love that they've been really testing her out with like, you know, people who are not as seasoned in pro wrestling. She's really delivering. You know, they're putting together.
Sorry, go ahead.
They're putting together some really good matches, and it doesn't have to be with a Serena Deeb type.
Apparently, she's been training with Bryan Danielson. Jade has.
Oh, there you go.
So, yeah, sky's the limit for Jade. She's gonna be a massive
I hear
star.
that guy's pretty good.
I've heard that too. The sky's the limit for Jade Cargill. She's going to be a huge star. Huge star.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then next we got a Young Bucks Adam Cole promo. Matt says Friday is going to be the Young Bucks versus Roppongi Vice. And Nick says, it's time to climb back up those rankings and get their titles back. And Cole just goes, if you need backup, you got Jay White. And Matt says, you couldn't have given us a heads up before that? Jay and Kenny, they're kind of arch enemies. And Cole says, oh, no. If you trust me, you can trust Jay. We made an oath. When you're Bullet Club for life, right? Anyways, I got my own stuff to do, so I'm going to go deal with that. And he just leaves. And they ask Cutler, who's on the camera, it's like, hey, did you know about Jay White? And Cutler just says, I might have read something about it on Reddit.
I think I read something on Reddit. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Oh, you trust me. Larson. We had a second women's match on Dynamite 2. We can't bitch about that anymore. Unless, hopefully, this becomes like a regular occurrence.
I hope so.
Right?
Granted, the second match was all of a minute long, but they're advancing story, though.
You know what, though? This is the thing. Instead of, because this whole segment was probably like from beginning to end, probably like 6 minutes long or so. And the match was like, I think 2 minutes. I think she went to like the 3 minute.
No,
mark.
it was a minute. Almost exactly.
Oh, it was actually, it was
4 minutes left
5 to 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he had an intro, 30 seconds for an entrance. She promoted for like a minute. So maybe 5 minutes altogether.
Maybe.
Right. Instead of having some useless Dan Lambert promo, right? You just do this, and it's effective. It's storytelling.
Well, here's the thing,
and it shuts people like us up who want to see more than one women's match on TV.
Here's the thing, too. It's advancing story where Serena Deeb for several weeks is gonna beat these rookies in less than 5 minutes till someone shows up at AEW, like maybe Athena. I don't know. Somebody shows up at AEW and beats her.
It's just going to end up being Sheeta, probably.
It could. No, because Deeb's made a point of saying rookies. So while Athena is far from a rookie, she'll be new to AEW.
She'll be a rookie in AEW specifically, yeah. Good call. But anyways, yeah. So it was like the 5-minute rookie challenge, and basically it was just her toying. At one point she she turns her back on Katie Arquette, and Katie goes and tries to get like a lock around her hip, and Serena Deeb just immediately reverses that, ends up putting her in the Serenity lock for the win.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty quick win there.
Yeah.
For Serena Deeb.
Yeah, about 59, 60 seconds. Then we had excuse me, I got a burp. No, I don't.
Lance, Jurassic Express and the Ass Boys recap.
Yeah, they got a tag title match on Rampage.
That sounds about right. Yeah, Rampage seems like a real Dark Elevation type situation. Doesn't Britt have somebody's got a match against?
Britt has a match against someone. I don't know who they are.
Yeah, I don't know who that person was.
And then it was this match, and there was.
Well, I know Hook's got a match against.
Hook's got a match.
QT's person, whoever that is. Student.
Yeah. Then we got our main event: Lance Archer versus Hangman Page, a violent, bloody match.
Oh my goodness!
No one got introductions because they start Lance Archer's music, and you cut backstage, and Hangman is already beating them up.
Yeah,
they fight out towards the ring pretty quickly. They didn't make it to the ring before Archer gets busted open. For some reason, there's like a pane of glass over the heel tunnel. I assume that's where Archer was supposed to come through. Page throws him through that. Archer's busted open. He sets up for a buckshot, hits it, but Archer rolls out of the ring, and Archer beats a 10 count. So Page looks for a suicide dive. Instead, Archer hits him with the trash can lid, and then Lambert runs down and starts taking off unscrewing all the top turnbuckles, and takes the top rope down so Page can't hit a buckshot. A bunch of violence ensues. Again, I won't go through all of it because there's a lot of good stuff. Hangman gets busted open after Archer hits him with the turnbuckles. We get the blackout on the ring steps, which looked like it sucked.
Man, at the very last split second, he got that head tucked in, and oh my gosh!
Even before that
was rough.
Even before that huge choke slam that Archer did on the garbage can. And
yeah.
And he gets the fork out and starts jamming it at Page's head, and then sticks the fork in his mouth.
He starts like slicing the forehead, then starts like stabbing him with it, and then put it in his mouth.
So then Archer tosses a bunch of chairs in the ring, finds one with barbed wire, puts that in, and he sets up the ring steps, hits the blackout on that. He brings Page back in the ring. He's looking for a power bomb on the barbed wire chair, but while Page is down, he grabs on the barbed wire, fights out of the power bomb, wraps the barbed wire on his forearm, hits a bunch of forearms on Archer, hits a German suplex, and the ref bends down to get rid of the barbed wire.
Yeah.
And Page hits a buckshot lariat off the ref's back, like handsprings off the ref's back, hits it on Archer, and sends Archer himself through a couple of tables that Archer had set up ringside earlier in the match. Page beats the 10 count. Archer doesn't. Page wins. What a creative finish. It was amazing.
That was the most unexpected shit. That ref was just there on his hands and knees, and Page looks down at him, handsprings over him, hits that buckshot. I was like, I didn't see that coming.
Amazing.
That was great.
Amazing. You mentioned earlier Adam
really
Cole walks out, takes the AEW title from the belt. Or AEW title from the ref, and just walks to Page, puts it over his shoulder, pats it, letting Page know he's next in line.
Yeah.
Hell of a show.
Yeah, that was really, really good stuff. Let's go ahead and answer some questions. I got a thread up here on the Patreon. If you're in the Twitch chat and you want to ask a question, go ahead and highlight it. We might answer it. Of course, some on the Patreon. Well, everybody starts doing it. We can't answer them all. On the Patreon, patreon.com/Stephen Larson. We've got a brand new weekly newsletter. If you can't find the time to keep up with all your wrestling, to keep up with all of our podcasts, we've got the Kip Up so you can keep up. That's right. It's a weekly newsletter where you can sit there, while you're taking a deuce, or you're on on the bus, commuting somewhere, on the subway, wherever you are, and you can read the newsletter, get all your match results from the week. You can find out which matches are must-see. So if you want to watch some wrestling, you know what to watch. All the news from the week, along with our commentary on all the news stories from the week, plus news from the Friendo Club, from us, and maybe even a little bit more. Check out the Kip Up. It's on the Patreon, patreon.com/Steven Larson, $5 a month. Great way to help support Going in Raw. Let's kick it off with Soken Rose. Says, what if Knights of the Black Throne wasn't a typo and they're joining the Kings of the Black Throne to form the House of Black stable? That's a lot right there. I just think it was a typo.
Yeah, I think it was because Justin Roberts said Kings.
I think it was just a typo.
I think it was just a typo. Mexican Jedi asked, when will Wardlow turn on MJF and will he cost Max the world title? Potentially.
You got to figure if the Face of the Revolution thing is for the TNT title, Andrade is probably gonna. This is my guess. Andrade wins the TNT title. That's my guess. Mm-hmm. Because like you said, anybody else, and that just sort of further then MJF will look at Wardlow like he's an abject failure, even though Wardlow has done all this stuff for him, and maybe that will lead them down to the split, or that'll just be one more thing that eventually. Mm-hmm. I honestly think they can keep on milking this for a little while, man.
Yeah, they can.
Because, also another thing, MJF they haven't really talked much more about his desire to be champ. He's talked tonight about world champ. I feel like if they were going to do the MJF champ thing, he would be really specific in talking about wanting to accomplish that goal.
Exactly. Fear and Loathing will Thunder Rosa versus Mercedes Martinez, no DQ next week. Try to top the goriness of the bloodbath from tonight. I don't know if they'll make say, hey, the plan is to top. I think they're just going to go out and do their own match, how they want to do it.
I do kind of wonder if to a degree Tony Khan would probably say, hey, right now we're going to have Hangman do a lot of the bleeding stuff. So if he's got a match on, which I know he doesn't on.
Oh, yeah. Then no blood anywhere else.
I think that's a possibility.
Yeah.
That's a possibility.
Or no intentional bleeding. I think
right,
Mox
shit happens.
Mox got busted up a little bit tonight, I think.
Shit happens. Or maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he's like, yeah, bleed all you want. But I do kind of wonder because, my God, Hangman.
Yeah, for the impact, yeah.
And we've often talked about how blood can be very helpful to a story. Mm-hmm. And if you really want to emphasize what Hangman's going through, you kind of do have to ask everybody else, hey, try not to get super bloody if you can help it. Yeah,
exactly.
Mayor of Planet Houston. If you could start a promotion, but it had a theme where all the storylines and promos and the vibe and the way matches were shot were based off of a specific movie director, which director would you want and how would you want it to turn out?
Mine's easy because this director has a movie that has part of the name of my promotion in it.
No, Mean Street
Scorsese.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite. There's such a charm to that movie. It is so good. It is so good. I'm going to go with one of my favorite directors, and in fact, he did direct The Wrestler, not the Ed Asner version of The Wrestler. Of course, I'm talking about Darren Aronofsky. I think you can take a little bit of what he was doing back in Requiem with a Dream, with the hip-hop montage type stuff, and then you add a lot of the sort of a docu-style that he had for The Wrestler, and I think if you sort of try to mesh those two styles, I think you might have something interesting.
Could have something there. Yeah. Jorge D, instead of Keith Lee challenging Isaiah Cassidy tonight, what if it was Ryback? How would you book him at AEW? I wouldn't.
But that's not the question. If Ryback. You would, how would you?
Guess
if
what?
Tony Khan was like,
guess what? Isaiah Cassidy is going to be in that ladder match.
The glorious Steve Klain. How many power bombs do you think you could take from Wardlow before you barfed?
0.
Barfing isn't the issue.
Or 1. I'd take 1. I'd curl up in a ball and say no more.
No
more. Because my neck would be jacked.
Yeah, I'd probably poop my pants, as Pat McAfee likes to say. Did you see that bit with him and Seth Rollins where they started wetting him? It was the funniest, most juvenile thing because Seth Rollins was the guest, and and they asked him who's on his Mount Rushmore.
Yeah,
and Seth says, "Well, the question needs to be really two things: drawing power or wrestling." And they said, okay. Well, he says, well, for drawing power, he says, because wrestling is about making money. So drawing power is the most important thing. He says, then you got to put Hogan, you got to put Cena, you got to put Rocky, you got to put Austin. And McAfee said, what? And the other, he's got 3 guys with him, and they all started wanting Seth Rollins. It was the most juvenile shit, but damn it was funny. I love Pat McAfee.
Yeah, he's pretty great. He's pretty great.
And then Seth put he said Bryan Danielson. He says at the end of the day he's going to be on that Mount Rushmore with Shawn Michaels. I forget the other 2 he mentioned, but they were kind of obvious guys.
Yeah.
What?
Penta L0Z. Was there any point during Keith Lee's match that you weren't smiling? No.
Oh, it was a joy. It was an absolute joy. Let's see here. The backseat booker says it would be nice if the Q&A section would be opened a little earlier in the day, or even the day before. This has been the first time in over a month I've been able to get in to ask a question. Noted. I will do my best to do that. Maybe I can open up a QA thread at like the beginning of the week, and y'all just put your questions there. I don't know. That might be maybe.
We'll see.
I mean, it's kind of shocking that I remember to do it during the show itself in the first place. So I'll try to be better about it.
Dreamcast can't die. What's a reasonable hope for the Jay White crossover? We get another match between him and Kenny. Yeah, maybe Jay White goes over.
Oh no! Here in AEW? Oh no, that's going to be his Quantum Leap match right there. He's going to lose that thing. Kenny's huge return as a babyface, and then Jay White Quantum Leaps out.
I don't know, maybe because maybe it'll lead to some more crossover with New Japan.
Yeah, I guess anything's possible. Dean Fish says, who will lose her title first, Jade or Britt? It's Britt. It's probably going to be a Revolution against Thunder Rosa.
Yep. I would not be surprised if Jade Cargill has that TBS title when she wins the AEW Women's title.
What is going to be the record when she loses it?
They're making such a thing about the streak.
They are. Do you think she's going to get to 100-0?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I think so. I think by the end of this year, she might have both those titles. If Thunder Rosa beats Britt in a month at Revolution for it, and Thunder Rosa has it till, Full Gear or till the end of the year, I would not be surprised if Jade beats her for it.
People are bringing up the Goldberg streak, but that was actually broken by Asuka already. Mm-hmm. Yeah, granted, it's not sort of as made. It wasn't as made. I mean, WWE made a deal about it, but like Goldberg is sort of like everybody thinks about him when they think of streaks, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Moses Supposa says, with the awesome debuts from tonight, let's ask, who would have been the most underwhelming debut? He says, besides like Cody / Stardust. I don't know, man. I don't want to talk about being underwhelmed by people.
No, I don't want to either.
I feel kind of bad just saying it.
Yeah, I know. TNA man, what was your reaction? What would your reaction be if the Inner Circle ever split? I'd probably say it's about time.
I mean, they're split. That dude choked out Chris Jericho. That was his "I'm done" card right there.
Yeah,
he just said "I'm done." That shit is done. Yeah. I mean, they'll all be faces again, like a year from now or 2 years from now, and they'll get back together for like a little nostalgia trip,
a reunion tour. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're done. They're done. Let's see here. Okay, Stephen Dunnigan says, as someone who became a wrestling fan again thanks to NXT 1.0 and Demon Balor, and have stayed a fan thanks to AEW, what's one thing you take from NXT 1.0 and implement into AEW to make it the ultimate wrestling show?
I don't know, because I feel like a lot of the stuff that NXT did well, AEW is already doing.
Yeah, they're already kind of doing it. Yeah. One thing I would totally do that I can't really think of AEW doing necessarily is there was that one period of time when NXT would like build stories in the background of like
good.
backstage stuff, like, oh, look at this training stuff going on in the performance center. Here's some security footage, and a brawl breaks out. But then, like in the background, you see some other angle happening that you have to be an eagle eye about.
Yeah,
I really like that. I like playing with the president. That being said, I love that like AHFO is in the stairwell all the time. The meeting between Andrade and Sting and Darby was well staged. It was like, you know, an interview segment. I don't think they have any they don't have unmotivated cameras. They even motivate Cutler.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're always like, hey, Brandon, are you rolling? They always do that stuff.
Yeah. And last week when the Gun Club attacked Jungle Boy, it was Billy Gunn saying, "Hey, camera guy, come with me."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I
love that. I would say my answer would be William Regal as general manager.
That'd be good. One thing NXT did really well, and they did it often enough, or not too often that it got tiresome, is when they used to do those little mini documentaries. There's a Roderick Strong one.
Yeah,
and they're always really well put together. And
yeah,
I know AEW, they jam a lot of stuff into an episode of Dynamite as is. I don't know if they want to spend 5 minutes on little mini documentaries.
Yeah,
but those things are so good when done right, and really help flesh out characters. So maybe it's at some point.
Yeah. We'll end on this one. Nikyle asks, who should Hook's first opponent be on Dynamite? The answer is QT Marshall.
Yeah, probably will be too.
Probably will be.
Unless
they keep Rampage to be Hook's show.
Could be.
I don't know.
Could be.
Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Hey, thanks everybody for hanging out with us tonight live on Twitch. We appreciate it. Thanks everybody watching this in the audio realm or on YouTube, wherever you're watching it. We really, really appreciate your support.
We do.
We'll be back live on the Twitch tomorrow. And then, of course, Friday, we'll have our Rampage watch along and our SmackDown/Rampage recap.
Indeed.
Right after that. So thanks so much for hanging out with us. Till next time. We'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.